2004 was just, I don't know what to say, mind-boggling, I guess. Because, you know, I've been on the racetracks, I'm a teenager, and I've been going to Belmont Park. I remember one time I went with my dad, way back when, and 40, 50,000 people on a Saturday at Belmont. Average day, you know, not whatever. And I kind of got lost in the crowd, whatever. And I never forgot, because it's a scary feeling, you know, if you lose your parent or whatever. But that day, when I looked from the box, you could get lost. You know, a grown-up could get lost. It was amazing, and there was 120,000 people there. And I think there was, I don't know how many millions, but it was a record watching on television. You don't even realize it. But anyway, when we got close around the turn, and that's all we wanted, just to have a good performance against Smarty Jones. But boy, I started to taste it, you know, down the lane, and when it happened, it was breathtaking. It was amazing. And of course, the trainer was very gracious, John Service, and the owners, the Chapman, was so gracious, and it was interesting, put it that way. It was amazing. 2008 was a kind of a different deal, because if you remember, Smarty Jones was kind of like a fan favorite. 2008, you know, the Big Brown's a great horse, whatever, but it wasn't so much of all the people being involved with Smarty Jones. So that one, you know, was actually more, let's say, enjoyable, but there was nothing like the 2004, because I think the 2004 Belmont, when you become part of history in any sport, they can't take that away from you. A good friend of mine said something about, I guess we could all die happy now. This is a good point. What's really unfortunate in life, you know, if you get this much of a reputation in sports, you have to keep doing it. And don't ask me why, but it affects us. It affects the barn, it affects the stable, because, hey Nick, you know, when you're going to get back in the Triple Crown, or when you're going to win another one, or when you... In 2010, we came very close with Icebox and Fly Down. That was unbelievable, that Triple Crown for me. You know, and Jackson Ben, I finished, if you could believe it, second in the Derby with a horse, third in the Preakness with another horse, and second in the Belmont with another horse. I think it was the first time, but 3 different horses. But we didn't win. Well, believe it or not, you get a lot with the pedigree. You know, you get a lot of idea, you know, what horses could go a mile and a half through the pedigree, and of course how they train. And like I say, not to, I don't know, not to sound silly or whatever, but we've won 2 Belmonts, but we've been second 7 times. 7 times in the Belmont we finished second. So there is something to pedigree. Like if you get a pedigree where the horse has distance in it and you do know how to train it a little bit for a mile and a half, that's probably where you get the indication from. And we also had a couple of thirds and fourths. So there's something to the pedigree, I think, with the mile and a half. Everybody seems to be waiting for Secretarian, and he's a good barometer. You know, so many horses. Baffert had a bunch of them. Lucas had some. Of course, Smarty Jones, the Big Brown scenario. We were fortunate to be on the winning side of those 2. But it has to have a special horse, because most of the horses today, they're pretty competitive. So it could be a hard thing. It could be a while. I mean, unless that exceptional horse comes out. But you never know where it comes from. That's the wonderful thing about this sport. You could have a horse that all of a sudden wins the Derby and wins the Preakness, and lo and behold, they say, well, how does this horse looks that way? You know, it's not big or strong, or how the heck? It's one of the most beautiful things about our business. No one ever really knows.